What you think about the comments that was made by Donald Trump lawyers saying that Donald Trump is Tupac and that his image and brand would be boosted just like Tupac if he went to prison? What you think about her making them comments?
When I seen that, I couldn't believe. I had to make sure it was real. I had to Google and say, did Donald Trump representation really said that Donald Trump would be like Tupac if he go to prison? I think you know what I mean. I think they trying to, Pac went to prison, bounced back, came back stronger. You know what I mean, and everybody was able to see that. But they represent two different things. Pac represent for the underdogs. He came from the struggle. So I don't really think they even understand, you know what I mean, the situation or the reality of what made Pac bounce back the way he did and what made the people accept him because they look at him, he was a voice for the people. You know what I mean? Pac was a voice for the people in the inner city. He really tried his best to put a positive message out for the people in the inner city. But the people in the inner city, we never really connected with Donald Trump, you know what I mean? So, I think it was a statement a political statement, of course, but Pac bounce back was different. You know what I mean? He was an individual that, in the eyes of the people see him come up. You know what I mean? They saw that he went to jail unjust. You know what I mean? When Pac went to prison, it pretty much was a circus. You know what I mean? It was proven that he didn't do what the girl claimed he done to her, so it was just unjust. You know what I mean? I don't really know the situation surrounding Donald Trump or what they putting him in prison or what they trying to, indict him on. I don't really know. You know what I mean? But they stood for two different things, bro.
Yeah, man. And speaking of Donald Trump, when Tupac was alive, he wasn't really a big fan of Donald Trump, right?
He wasn't. You know what I mean? Because like I said, Pac was always with the underdog. The difference between a Pac and a Donald Trump, for example, Donald Trump, he said he started off with just a small loan of $1 million. Us in the hood, you know what I mean? Like you won't be able to relate to us, you know what I mean? Or the people that's growing up in the inner city. So, you know, unfortunately, he was disconnected from the reality of what's happening. The core of America is the people that's, that's struggling. You know what I mean? And most of the time, these politicians, the reason why we still suffering in the black community or the Latin community is because they don't know our plight. You know what I mean? Most of them came up with money. Most of them came up, disconnected from the reality of what's really happening. So Pac wasn't really feeling these type of people. You know what I mean? Unless they was, rich people coming back in the inner cities and giving back. But you don't really see too many politics. They claim and they promise us, but once they get in the office, it's nothing.
For the people that's out there, right? Because you always hear this when a rapper go to prison, that he gonna be the next Tupac. Now you got Trump team saying this. But break it down to the people, man, and let the people know exactly what Tupac was going through and how he was targeted.
Yeah, people have to stop. You know what I mean? Especially in the rap industry, they have to stop glamorizing prison like it's something, to be to you know what I mean, to glamorize. Most people that go to prison when they get out of prison, nobody want to be in prison. You know what I mean? Nobody want to go to prison. And Pac, of course, he didn't want to go to prison. You know what I mean? But it was his fate. It happened. It was written for him. And when Pac went through that, I was with him. I was with him when he was going through that. So he had a lot on the shoulder. He got shot. So imagine you getting shot, check yourself out of the hospital. Couple months later, you get sentenced for something you didn't do. You know what I mean? The girl tried to say he raped her or sexually assaulted her, but it was proven he didn't. And the judges gave him some type of bogus charge. And it seemed like the judges wanted to make an example of him, because Pac was getting in trouble a lot. He shot these two off-duty police. He beat that case. So if you coming across the radar of these judges, and a lot of them is racist, and you end up in the wrong court, then they're gonna make an example out of you. And I believe that's what they really did to Pac. You know what I mean? They put this bogus charge on him. Then he went to Clinton, prison, and it was difficult. You know what I mean? It was difficult for him, and it messed him up because Pac. I remember he said the first time he got into prison, and he seen one of the white guards use the N word and call another dude the N word, like called and Pac was like, "What? What's happening? Like y'all just gonna let him say that?" And everybody in prison like, "What we gonna do? These the guards." And that's when he's like, "Man, I knew I was in a in a messed up situation right there because of his pride. He couldn't allow it. He didn't like to see that. You know what I mean?"